Hey guys, welcome back. I took some time off for the holidays to recover from COVID and all that kind of stuff. Mental break, and I've been working on some videos. And some of you guys have reached out to me, and you've wanted to know a little bit more about illustration, and you want to get into drawing, there are tools that we can use in drawing to incorporate into painting. And part of that stems from the whole idea of values and layout and composition. So today we're going to work on some illustration practices, and I've got a few tools here that we'll probably use. This right here is a kneaded eraser. See, it's pretty dark. It's been used for charcoal, which is actually what we're going to be using today. So it's a little dark. Chalk, regular chalk. I like this better than working with white charcoal for a couple of reasons. It's easier to blend than white charcoal, at least the charcoal that I've used, and you get some really nice results with that. This is a charcoal pencil. It's really nice just for kind of sketching your layout. You can use it in place of vine charcoal if you prefer, but I like to use this as more of a pencil type thing. Really nice to blend with, and we'll get into that a little bit too. This is vine charcoal right here. You can get them different kinds of vine. This is a thicker one. I prefer this. This is a smudge stick. You use this often in graphite, but you can use it with charcoal as well. And to accompany that is this sanding board right here. You can use the sanding board to clean the smudge stick just by rubbing it on there. You can use that with your kneaded eraser as well. And then lastly, just a simple fan brush, and this to kind of dust things off a little bit, take some of the heavier charcoal away, just help you use some blending. Now, with all of this, charcoal is affected by gravity. Gravity is going to pull all the charcoal elements down. On the floor beneath me, I've got a tarp. It's just going to capture this stuff. I have pulled. You can get shards that will break off of here, just small, tiny little shards that'll just break off. And you can, if you're walking around barefoot, you can get them stuck in your foot, and it's not very comfortable kind of thing. So this is just Bristol board. I taped it off with some masking tape. It just makes for a really nice composition. So today we're going to work on, we're going to demonstrate some shape, how to draw just by picking out shapes. We're going to draw a banana. So it should be relatively simple, right? So let's go ahead and jump in here. Thanks for joining me today. I'm Kendall Stump, and welcome to the Stump Project. All right, let's see if I can do this without knocking into the camera too much. So we've talked in the past about dividing your paper up into thirds, or your paper, your canvas, what have you. And generally speaking, one of these points of intersection right here is going to be where your focus is for the composition. I'm not really going to worry about the points of focus so much as the lines themselves. So I want the part of the banana to come down here, and then the other part will come across like this. And I'll put up the reference image. I'll put it up over here, off to the side, so that you can see it, and you can see what I'm working from. So you can just take it step by step. First, you want to get the overall shape of the thing, right? And don't try to be so precise. You don't have to get everything just right. Every banana is different, right? According to this picture, you know that it's got a curve. That's gonna come right around in here, and it's gonna be heavier on the top and make its way back around. Again, it goes back to what I said. Draw what you see, not what you think you know. This isn't about that. You can tell, you know that it's going to get tapered towards the end. So that's what you draw. These are shapes, right? These are just shapes. So imagine, obviously a cylinder. Okay, it's got a rounded surface, right, like that. The center of it may come like that. You got to think of these things. Think of how the form is. The side of it probably wraps itself around like that, right? Draw these construction lines. Because the beautiful thing is, working with charcoal, you can just rub this stuff away. You can use your kneaded eraser, and you can rub it even more. Now, it is charcoal. Its intent is not to take you down to a white canvas if you want to erase it. That's not what it's about. Because you want that shading. So again, what we're doing here really is just looking for landmarks. So I know that I've got this curve that's going to come around here, and feels more of a straight edge that's going to come around here. And I know that according to the picture, it looks like this piece here comes down a little over halfway down from where it wraps around here to the bottom. So it comes down a little over halfway. So right about in here is how far that's going to go. So we'll bring that there. We know that there's a slight curve in here that kind of comes around. Something to that nature. Now we have this done, the shape of the peel. We can move on to this one, and we know. Actually, we can go to the one on the other side. So here we have the base. It just comes over partially like this before this starts. Kind of coming up here. So this is going to come over. This is going to come over. And you can see where these things are being relative to each other. And then we know that the tip of this is going to be on this side, about in here somewhere. So that's going to be my landmark, right? And we know that the curve is on the inside of where this point is. So it's going to be like over here somewhere. So we know that this is going to curve around this way before coming back here. And if these lines aren't exactly right, when we put the background in, just like in painting, you can correct them. All right, so there's something like that. We have the base of the banana that comes down here. We know at the back of the banana comes clear down like that, and then it's going to see. I'll make another mark right here because this is where I want the bottom of it to be. So then I can just kind of connect my lines. You can see how rough I am with it. I'm not trying to get everything exact. You need to be rough. You need to be loose. You're just putting this stuff in for the time being. See, I can follow this line right here. And this line here kind of fill that in, and I know that this in here is just going to be all dark. It's going to be part of the background. And that's going to be dark. Of course, this is the background will be dark here. In the back, we can determine that according to the picture, if we look at where the top of the banana is here, and where the top of that peel is, we know that it's going to be somewhere, it's not quite as tall, it's going to be somewhere around in the neighborhood of there. And then if we look up, we see where it meets here, meets at the top of that peel in the back, and then it arches over down to about here, or down from here. So we can just make a nice curved line for that placement. Should have been the top right there, so I didn't want to put that in there. There's that, and we know this is going to curve around like that. And part of this is going to be dark. This is a little bit lower. We'll just put that in like that. And as we get into this, I may speed this up a little bit. Once we get past some of the instructional stuff, as I start rendering it, I may speed this up a little bit, because it could take a little bit of time. And then the same over here. Okay, so where is this? Where does this peel here come up? Let's look at landmarks. Let's look at the end of the banana here, and we know that it's going to be, if you draw a line straight down, it'll be over around this area. And then if you look at where it's at, if you draw a straight line over from there, you know it's a little, about in the middle of this peel. So pretty close to right around that center, that interest point is where the tip of that peel is going to be. So we bring something like that. That one, and then lastly the one in the back, we know it's probably going to come down to about there. See, you can hold your pencil up to get the angle and hold it here, and then we can see that the angle is going to be something like that, so that I know that the tip of that is going to be right down here. Like that, and we know that this is all going to be dark. That's the rough shape of the banana. Now you can start to I'm using the thicker vine charcoal, or the thicker vine charcoal right now, just to roughly put in this background. This stuff is messy. Let's not kid ourselves. I mean, you're going to get charcoal on your fingers. You can use gloves if you like. I prefer not to. But here is where you can start to refine your edges if you prefer. I'm just getting some value on my canvas, and we can come in and refine that later on. I like charcoal for a couple of reasons. One of it is this. Blacks are black, and they are nice. The more you use aside, you can start to get like an edge or a tip on it. It allows you to get into some of those finer areas. If you need that sooner rather than later, you can always use your sanding tool to just sand down some of that charcoal, just to get more of a tip on there. All right, now just to show you some of these tools can do. You see all the charcoal marks on here, so you can use, and you can use a span brush, and you can see how it's just dusting away some of that, and taking away some of the strokes. And you can see like there's a nice thick line right there. I won't say nice thick line, but there is a thick line right there, and then that's from the charcoal just scratched the paper. And just like when you're painting, you can transplant some of this charcoal. For example, we know that we're going to have some shadow over here on this peel. You see, I can scrub some of that on there. We know we're going to have some on this peel right here. Now we can take an opportunity to go in and maybe get an idea where some of the shadows are going to be. But on top of that, you can go on top of this, and if you need to make this a little bit darker. If you got it a little bit too light, if you tried to clean it up and you got it a little bit too light, you can always add more charcoal to it. There is another tool that you can use. This stuff right here, Workable Fixative. I use this stuff if you ever want to work in layers. So if you have this down here and you wanted to clean it up at all, you can take your finger and you can see you can remove some of this stuff. Obviously, like I said, you're going to get it on your finger. You can come back in here, you can transplant it, do whatever you want. But say you want a nice smooth surface, when you achieve that, you can use that Workable Fixative and just seal it. And then it allows you to come back in and work on top of that, and you're not disturbing all that work that you put in underneath it to achieve whatever effect that you wanted. So just keep that in mind. There are tools that are available. So now we're going to start thinking about shadows. We're going to think about shadows in the same way as we thought about the shape of the overall banana. We look for landmarks. So we know, we look at this back peel right here. We know that there's a shadow that kind of comes up here, like this, almost directly atop here, and then it kind of curves around, a little bit of a deformation based on the surface geometry of the banana itself. And then we can put a little bit of shading in here. It's one of the things I like about working with, I think you guys know this, working with organic objects. It gives you the freedom to put in whatever you want to put in, and it doesn't have to be, it's not like it's a machined element where it has to be absolutely perfect. And the lighter that you want to get, you just go lighter. And you can see I just scribbled a bit, and the intention was just to get some charcoal on my paper, because I want to take my finger and I just want to start blending some of that. And you can use different techniques. If you want to disturb the areas less, you can just tap it. We can smooth out that transition line. Recommend using paper towel when you can. Clean your fingers. If you have a cleaner finger, so you can take off a little bit more charcoal. And you can start making some purposeful marks. Where do you want that bounce light to be? If you even need to make more purposeful marks, you can use your kneaded eraser. And the nice thing about it, you can put a nice edge on it. You can get a nice crisp edge right on the corner, or right on the edge where you need to be. Something like that. And then you'll continue to work on building in layers. So for example, you can take your chalk, and we know that right along here we want to kind of get back down to the gray area, lighter in transition, and we're just going to start building that up a little bit. And it's going to be about building back and forth, until you get something that you're completely happy with. It's all about texture. Just if you put too much in, I tap. I mean, there's different techniques that you can use. Like I said, you can use your brush if you don't like it. If you put something in too much, you can use your brush just to kind of remove some of that. And you work really light, and the charcoal will blend really nice with the chalk. And here we have a lost edge. We'll let that shadow just blend right in with the background. I'm going to give this a quick spray in a well ventilated area. So if you're not in a well ventilated area, wear a mask, a respirator mask. And I'll give this just a few minutes to dry, and then I will go over it again and try to darken up some of the background area. But you see how it did not take long at all to render this out. There, and you can see how building on those layers really help the whole thing come together. Pay attention to terminator lines. That's a part of the shadow that ends up being the darkest, especially on a rounded surface. So pay attention to those things. Remember these images that you create, they don't necessarily have to be a photographic or photoreal representation of what it is that you're trying to accomplish. It should just be trying to capture. This goes back to me being an impressionist style painter. You should be trying to capture a moment. How does this make you feel versus an exact replica? If you're trying to capture an exact replica, why not just take a photograph? I've always been of that mindset. And then you can just follow along with this, and you can continue to tweak, make adjustments as you need to. Have fun. Look, take your start by finding some photographs online to practice with. You can adjust them, making them monochromatic. Just make sure that they have a good light source, that they translate well to being monochromatic. And then you can start taking your own photos. Start to tell your story. And then you can start to get effects. For example, you can take your chalk and you can rub it on your sanding board. You can get some chalk on your finger. And if you want like little glows here or there, like maybe where a bounce light may be, and it just needs to be subtle. I mean, you don't need a lot. Not a lot at all. I hope you enjoyed this. I did. It was something new. It demonstrated a lot of the things that we've been trying to get across. I hope it illustrated them, no pun intended. I hope it illustrated them fairly well. If you have any questions, I hope to continue these kinds of things. I'm really getting into the charcoal drawing. It's quite fun. It's much like painting, for sure. You just continue to build on it the same way as you would paint. So it's not that far off. And then from there you can even dive into some pastels, if you like, that kind of thing. So all kinds of stuff we can get into. It'll be great. So here's an example. All right, check this out. All right, so dirty tip. So you just rub it on your sandpaper. Spin it. Rub. Look at that, nice clean tip again. Allows us to come in here and get some of the carbon away to allow us to capture some of that bounced light without having to put in chalk. And then you can also use it to blend a little bit too, just by rubbing it. And there we go. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow along, try your own, and I hope that you share these with me. Remember, you can find inspiration anywhere. don't be afraid to look. And I'll see you next time. Oh, hold on, before I go. Something I didn't share with you. Now we're going to take care of this. I'm not going to take off the top one because I don't want it to fall to the ground. But I do want to share this with you. Now, when you take tape off, you want to pull it at a 90-degree angle away from your picture. If for whatever reason the tape would catch on the paper and would rip, it would rip right into your illustration. And you can see that nice, super nice, clean line. One more, like I said, I'll leave that top on, but just to give you, I want to demonstrate what this looks like. It finishes off a piece so nice. And there you have it. All right, like, comment, subscribe. You know the rest. I'll see you next time.